Hey YouTube, so I'm here to record a video review for If Loving You Is Wrong, Season 3, Episode 8, titled Don't Lose Your Deposit. Okay, and that will make more sense as I get into the review, of course. But before I get started, let me begin by saying I am beyond excited that the number one Tyler Perry show is coming back June 20th, 25th, one of them, I don't know. The haves and the have-nots. So this is like the whole reason why I do reviews to begin with. The haves and the have-nots. Greatest Tyler Perry show on Tuesday nights. So, with that being said, and how could we forget Tupac? All eyes on me. I mean, come on now. So anyways, let's just get started. Okay, so the episode starts where it left off, and it is Eddie the idiot coming into Brad's office, and he runs into Randall, and wow, what a surprise. I have another opportunity to kill you. There's no witnesses around. Of course, he thinks Brad is going to be on his side, but Brad has a moral compass, okay? Brad is like, look, I know the dude slept with my wife. He disrespected me. We were supposed to be friends. He tried to fight me like a couple of times. They were failed attempts, but he still tried, and he's rubbing all of it in my face. At the end of the day, I'm still not a killer, but don't push me. But at this moment, I don't want you to get pushed to that point because I have too much to lose, okay? You cannot just be killing people in my office. So, with that being said, he talks Eddie off the ledge, basically. Like, don't do no stupid stuff, okay? So, Eddie was like, okay, well, Randall needs to leave out the window then because he's not leaving out this door. And Brad is like, come on, dude, you are ridiculous, okay? And he's like, but what is he even here for? And he's like, I came down here to apologize. He said, oh, did you tell him what else? Did you tell him that I just caught you all hugged up with his wife in the front yard? Yeah, she's still sleeping with him. And he's like, no, I came to talk to him about the baby. And then I came to tell him that really it's probably Lucian's baby. And then he was like, man, what is up with your wife, man? Is she swinging from every jungle tree around town? And I'm like, boy, man, the hate is real. So, they finally get past that. And he's like, look, that's irrelevant at this point. Brad is like, Randall needs to get out of here. He needs to get out of here safely. So he literally had to push Eddie out the way to let Randall out the door. Okay, so then Eddie is mad. Like, when the door shuts, he's like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, you had an opportunity. Like, I don't even know who you are right now, okay? Like, he could have been, done, finished. You over here saving people's babies, saving babies that ain't yours. Like, what has gotten into you? Brad is like, you know what? I'm not a killer. I'm not just going around town killing people. Like, you're making it real hard to be your friend. You just need to leave. Just go. So then Eddie is hating. He's like, okay, well, if you're stupid if you go back to her. You better not go back to her or that'll be dumb. And you come talk to me when you find yourself because you're not the same man that was in the army with me. I'm like, oh, this is why Brad feels like he has some type of loyalty towards him because, they went through traumatic things together. Makes sense. But, Eddie has changed, or he probably hasn't, but, whatever. Okay, so the next thing you know, Alex's house. That's where we're at. So her phone's ringing. It's the doctor. It's the doctor that delivered her baby, the doctor that was around when all the drama was going on with her husband and Randall and her friends coming and Eddie showing up. Her doctor has been through all the chaos with her, and she was really her super strong support system that was making sure she was okay while she was in the hospital. So her doctor informed her that, yeah, even though the baby is not in Alex's custody, the baby is in her custody, and she's taking care of the baby at the hospital. So, I was able to pull a few strings, let the judge know that I need you to breastfeed the baby. And I'm like, girl, lies. And that judge was just doing you a favor because technically, you can still give the baby breast milk. It doesn't have to be from Alex. They have this, stored at the hospital. Donated from other people. What? Come up with something better. And I didn't like that because she shouldn't be able to see the baby. Not that I don't want her to see the baby. I don't like the fact that she lied and she's trying to keep the baby away from the baby's father. But If she's able to see the baby, then Randall should be able to go up there and see the baby. Like, I don't know. You breastfeed the baby and he sing the baby a lullaby or something. But it's not fair, okay? Because Randall never did anything to show that he was an unfit parent. You went to go find your racist parents so they could basically kill your baby's daddy, but not realizing your baby is half black too, so you're kind of putting your baby's life in danger as well. So you would be more of the unfit parent than he is. But whatever the case, Alex is just happy about this privilege that she gets, so she hurries up, gets off the phone. She's like almost in tears, like she's so happy. She calls Esperanza like, "AOE, are you at work? Can you get off work? I got an opportunity to go and breastfeed my baby and spend time with my baby. I need you to come watch my kids." Esperanza's like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'll be there." Okay, so the next thing you know, we're at Lucian and Natalie's house. So they've been having a day as it is. A bunch of ups and downs, just a roller coaster of emotions. This doesn't make it any better because the probation officer shows up, the one that is crushing on Natalie. So Lucian already knows, like, this is some mess. Like, you can't even do anything for Joey. Why did you show up? You showed up to flirt with my woman right in front of me, and you think that I'm about to let this go down? And Natalie, she's optimistic. She's like, maybe he could do something for us. Was there anything you can do? And da-da-da. Let me get you some tea. Let me get you this and that. Lucian's like, no, he don't need nothing. Like, why are you here? Okay? And then the probation officer was like, bruh. And he's like, no. I'm not your bro, whatever, okay? You're here to do a job. Now, can you do it or not? No, I can't get him out of jail. He violated his probation because he had a gun. He said, okay, well then great. Why are you here? Get out. And Natalie is like, what? What? Don't leave. He's like, no, you can leave. And she is like, finally the probation officer gets out because he didn't have good intentions. And he says, well, before he left, he told her, like, he was in the hospital, but he's in the hospital in jail. But whatever the case, Lucian is hot on fire and mad. And Natalie is like, why would you do that? Like, he could have helped us. He said it himself. He can't help us. He's just trying to get with you. Like, it's not going down. We will have to get Joey a lawyer, and we'll get him help. And then he's like, yeah, but we're still going to have to go through him to get him a lawyer. He was like, it's simple. I'll get him taken off the case. She was like, oh, and you got connections like that? Like, I'm just trying to figure out who you are, okay? Because first you got $200,000 in the bank and didn't tell nobody about it. He was like, no, I had $200,000 in the bank. But after getting this house and paying Joey's medical bills, which I'm still paying on, I don't have quite that much. I'm still trying to call around and get some strings pulled and everything. So calm down, okay? And she was like, you did what? You paid for Joey's medical bills? So he's like, yes. Then all of a sudden her whole mood changes. I'm like, y'all are a little like, yeah, as a couple, y'all are an emotional roller coaster. And it is mainly due to Natalie because she can't just chill out for 2 seconds. But she's like, you did that? You did that for me? Oh my gosh. I have me like a real life OG. Oh my gosh. I just love you so much. Da, 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 and like it's all like cuddly and stuff. I'm like, y'all killing me, man. She's like, okay, so we should just go break in that bed upstairs. I'm like, most men, this is a side note, most men are like, oh, what's attractive to a woman or what's a turn on to a woman? Responsibility and paying bills and, just taking care of business all the way around. Like, what? Like, all the bills are paid, like, all my needs are met, and my wants? What? That's attractive. Like, not like, oh, I got on my fresh gear, my J's. Like, no, that's not grown man. Lucian portrayed some grown man stuff. He didn't even have to discuss it with her. It was like, check, check, check. It's been handled. And that's what Natalie needs in her life, especially with having her kids as well. She has a home now. She has a man, and I think as a single mother, she was used to doing it on her own, and that's why she's still kind of like impulsive and she freaks out. But Lucian is showing her more and more and more like, hey, we're getting married. Like, I can handle this. I've been handling it. So calm down. I'm going to let you have your moment, but you're going to trust me. So I thought that was cute. Okay, so Natalie's happy again. Marcy. So Marcy shows up to the hospital to visit Louise because, you know, her and Louise are just best buds now. But really she shows up because I think she was going to tell Louise the last time she was there that she was pregnant, but that's when Randall walked in. So she shows up again to check on her. And then Louise is like, so what did you want to say to me last time? Marcy was like, oh, nothing. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, why wouldn't you tell her? She's like, no, it's not a big deal. She's like, no, now Marcy, tell me. She's like, okay, brace yourself. And she's like, oh, man. And so she's like, okay, I'm in love with Brad. And she's like, come again. And she's like, I'm sure I'm in love with Brad. And I'm like, girl, you know that's not the news. Go ahead and tell her you're pregnant. Like, whatever. So she's like, girl, you're not in love with Brad. Brad is a rebound man. Don't do that. She's like, no, I really am. And she was like, no, y'all relationship is based off sex. Like, that's y'all common interest. And I'm like, Louise, that's partly the truth. Their relationship is based off of sex, anger, hurt, and revenge. And once they start getting over that anger, they'll suppress that need to get revenge. They'll start to get over the hurt, and then all that's left is sex, but that's not going to sustain anything in a relationship. They'll realize it wasn't love. You just, like, in a way needed that intimacy or support or, like, desire for someone to want you at that time. Like, you don't love him. Y'all are connected through hurt and pain. So when that goes away, you'll have nothing. So whatever. But Marcy thinks that she's in love. So even though every time they see each other, it's like pure lust. But whatever the case, she's like, no, I know that I love him. And I know we can't be together. Okay, we already talked about this. But I do love him. I'm like, Marcy, I think you're the one that's turning crazy. I think that you were attracted to Randall for a reason because he's cuckoo too. And really, like, deep down inside, you're cuckoo. Anywho, so Louise tells her a good piece of information. She's like, look, let it go until you've cleaned up your old house. Because beforehand, she says, don't do that because you won't get your deposit back. Marcy is like, Louise, what are you talking about? She said, look, let it go until you've cleaned up your old house. You can't move into a new house until you do so, or else you won't get your deposit back. Meaning that you don't want to, sometime down the line, still be able to say, oh, I still love Randall. Because you surface cleaned and you didn't really deep clean, and then you find out later on you can't get your deposit back. That wasn't cleared. It wasn't done with. There was still some filth left over, or not necessarily filth, but there was just still, your stuff was still there. A part of your heart is still with him. So why are you even trying to say that you're in love with another man and trying to move on when you haven't closed one door to even open another one? But whatever the case, I could go on and on and on with metaphors all day, but I will move on. So next thing you know, we see Aunt Viv, aka Mrs. Diane. She's in her car crying. Now we all know she went to the jail to find out if her son was going to get out today. So she calls Kelly crying mad, like, girl, what did you do? I know you called somebody. I'm like, Kelly ain't got connections like that. The police are on her tail right now. She's like, well, if I found out you did something to make him not get out of jail, ooh girl, ooh. Like, she didn't even have, like a threat after that. It was just like, you're going to regret it. But basically, the jail hasn't decided if they're going to let him out on probation or not. So, whatever, that was kind of a pointless scene. Next thing you know, the doctor and Alex are walking through the hall. After Alex gets done breastfeeding her baby, she's super happy. And, you know, they start talking about, you know, the rumors going around that Alex was with multiple people, and Alex is like, no, actually Randall's trying to take the baby, and that's just a rumor. Like, I kind of like started just to get him to go away. And so the doctor was like, well, what makes him like be like an unfit father? Like, I can't help you unless there's a reason why he would be unfit. And then she's like, no, there's really not a reason. Like, he I just don't like him. He's arrogant. And the doctor was like, well, that's not a reason for him to not have his baby. Next thing you know, Marcy walks up. She's smiling. And the doctor was like, oh, hey, how's the baby? And I'm like, girl, you can't just be going around blasting people's business like that. Like, as a doctor, you should know that that's like, it's not like she's like super pregnant and showing. Like, that's like a violation of like her privacy. You can't just air that information to the world, okay? Did she not sign like a HIPAA disclosure? Whatever the case, she's like, oh, the baby's good. And Alex is looking shocked like, girl, what baby? And then what's her face, she is like living for this moment, Marcy. She's like, yep, I'm pregnant. Oh yeah, and this is the witch that slept with my husband. And the doctor's like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have said so, I'm so sorry. I'm like, girl, because if I was Alex and I was a little butthurt, no, Alex can't sue you, but Marcy could. But Marcy is like loving this right now because she's like, well, Alex, you're bound to find out anyway, so, you know, whatever. And then so she's like, Alex is like super quiet, like walking to the elevator. And finally, they get on the elevator. Well, before they get on the elevator, she's like, oh, this is a girl that's sleeping with my husband. Oh, and she had a baby by my husband, and now I'm having a baby with hers. Okay, elevator opens up. There's already doctors and other people in there. Alex and Marcy get on the same elevator. This is the longest ride ever, okay? Marcy is literally taunting Alex. She's like, I just love screwing your husband so much that he knocked me up. And you know, I think how I got pregnant is how he did that one move. You know that one move, does he do it on you? And then she whispered the move in her ear, and I'm like, Alex, she got Jesus right by her side. I mean, all around her, just covered in the blood, because I know like two wrongs don't make a right. I know you slept with her husband, but girl, don't tell me the graphic details in my ear. So, whatever the case, she's like, Marcy's like, isn't this just the longest elevator ride ever? And she's like, I'm gonna have a baby. I'm gonna have your husband's baby. And I'm like, girl, Marcy, you better calm down, because have you ever seen Snapped before? She gonna snap. So next thing you know, Alex gets off the elevator. It's not even her stop, but she's like, I can't take this anymore. So go back to Natalie's house. Her kids are ecstatic about the house. They think they're rich now. One of the kids is asking about Joey. They just told him that Joey's still in the hospital. So the doorbell rings. I don't know if it's Lucian or both of them that went to go answer the door, but whatever the case, it's Tippa Haynes from the DNA Center, and she says she's there from a court order to collect some DNA samples. She doesn't have the paperwork with her, but she was already in the neighborhood, so she wants to go ahead and collect some blood samples, and she wants to swab Lucian's mouth. Well, she said the blood samples because she has to rule out that those two had anything to do with what's his face's death. I can't think of his name, but y'all know who I'm talking about, because he died in the house. And Lucian is like trying to breeze past that, because in Natalie's mind, he didn't die in the house. And so whatever, he's like, yeah, let's just give her the samples. This is normal procedures. I'll make sure they don't get in the wrong hands, aka Eddie. And then so when she asked for a swab of his mouth, he was like, for what? She was like, oh, for the paternity testing. They like, girl, bye. You ain't got no paperwork. You're not bringing this drama and this devilish acting to my house. Get out. Okay, so they're done with that. And she's like, I'm going to have to tell the court you refused. They was like, girl, do what you got to do. Peace. Next thing you know, at the police station, Julius Escada calls Ben. And he knows that, like, Ben is, like, really loves that white substance. So he invites him to a party, says he's going to have some Colombian goods there, and he should come. But and he's like, can my girlfriend come? And he was like, girlfriend? This is an all-male party. So we know that, like, Julius has a little thing for Ben, and Ben is basically about to be gay for pay, because Ben wants that Colombian, okay? And I don't even think Ben swings that way, but I think that Ben would do pretty much anything to get the drugs, because he's been like literally fiending before. So he says, you know what, you can come to this party, but the price of admission is a file on Eddie. He's like, dude, I can't do that. He was like, don't think of it as you're doing something for yourself. Think of it as you're doing it for your best friend. So he's like kind of playing on his emotions because he knows that Ben is an outcast. Whatever the case, last scene back at the police station, we have Kelly at the police station, and the officer from Hit the Floor, he's asking her, like, are you sure that you didn't ask him to, Travis, to pick up Justice? And she's like, no, I didn't. And he's like, are you sure? And he's getting real rude and reckless with her. Then all of a sudden he pulls up all these text messages that apparently came from her phone of, oh, can you pick him up from school for me? Also, can you stop at the house because I accidentally left the stove on? All this stuff. And apparently these texts are coming from like nearby cell phone towers by her house. So Travis had a plan for all of this to make Kelly look bad. Kelly is getting like ticked off. She's like, I need a woman on this case because I feel like y'all ganging up on me and he kidnapped my kid. And he's like, no, I feel like he broke up with you and now you're jealous and you're wasting all of our time here, okay? And she's like, you know what, I'm out of here. He's like, no, you're not. She was like, you're not keeping me. The only way you can keep me is if you have a warrant. He's like, actually, I do. And okay, done with that. At the end of the episode, we will be back for next week. This week was a pretty good episode. Hopefully next week gives us more. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out at mrsblogaholic.com, The Perspective Show PK, and check out my other channel that I'm featured on, which is The Perspective, and I will put it somewhere up here in this video. Okay, thank you. Have a good one. Bye.